Hello, the internet. My name is Pete. I have opinions, and I felt I should share my opinions with somebody. I used to be on message boards a lot, but I didn't think I was getting my opinion around to enough people, so I figured, why not do this? I'm gonna do this on YouTube. Hopefully, I will figure out how to do a podcast. It doesn't seem that hard. I think I can figure it out. I want to do stuff on comics, on books, on video games. Although I don't play a lot of video games these days. I want to get this started a couple months ago, but life happened and it wasn't the best time to do it. But I'm getting ready now. My rules for this are pretty simple. Each week I'm going to look at the comics I find interesting. I'm going to review them. I'm not sure it's really criticism, but I'm going to tell you what I think about them, if I think they're worth reading or not. What I'm going to do is I am not going to assume context from anything I haven't read already. So I'm not going to look back. I'm going to start here and move forward. I've been reading comics for 30 years. Like a lot of them, I have thousands. And, I got out of it, stuff happened, time passes, seasons change. It's mostly the New 52 never really clicked with me, but I think that now that we're a bit into it, I may be able to give it a chance. Starting out this week, I'm going to review the two books I enjoyed the most, which were The Silver Surfer, number one. Was it number one? I think it was number one. Number one. It is just so damn charming. It's Dan Slott, I think. It's Dan Slott, and more importantly, Mike Allred, and it's just so charming. It is, it's the Silver Surfer and an Earth girl are traveling around space and getting into wacky adventures. I read some of the last volume, and it's just so nice to see the Silver Surfer without all the mopiness. I mean, it's part of the character, but it's, also a 50-year-old part of the character, and this is just him going out. It's him seeing it through the eyes of a human. There's a great scene where the surfer and this girl are on Earth, and they're like, oh well, you should come watch The Wizard of Oz with me. I've seen this movie 1,000 times, billions upon billions of times. It's broadcasted around Earth and into space. Well, yeah, you've seen it, but have you seen it with someone? And it's just so cute. I love it. I love the way he does character. I love the way he writes characters. I love Mike Allred's art. I've always loved his art. Hopefully, one of the things I want to do here is get into comics I've read in the past, and I could do a whole thing on Madman. Madman was great. Yeah, can you see the horrible webcam I'm using? I know sometimes I am a pasty man, sometimes not so much. I'm not quite as pasty as I look on here. That is gonna make no sense when I put this up as a webcam, as a podcast. Number two is going to be the Titans Hunt number 4. Now, like I said, I haven't read this. I haven't looked back into this. This is a comic I think I might actually get the back issues of. It's really cool. It is, because the New 52 wiped out the old continuity. New 52 wiped out all of the pre-New 52 continuity. From where I can tell, from where it started up again, there had never been an incarnation of the Teen Titans. And that's one of my issues, because you have things like there's never been Wally West had never been Kid Flash, because Barry Allen was just kind of getting started as the Flash. I think I haven't read any of the current Flash series, because as great as it may be, it's not Wally West, and I just. But this is a book. But this book, it has. It begins with a lengthy flashback of Dick Grayson and Arsenal. Is he called Arsenal? Speedy. The ward of Green Arrow, and Donna Troy and Tempest fighting a not really fighting a villain. They're just kind of going nuts in a forest. The forest is it's like lashing out at them. It's going against them. It's really pretty good, and it turns out that it was all a dream. And it cuts to Donna Troy Aqualad and Dick Grayson, like going, I had this dream about you, and you were there, and I also had a dream about you, and you were there, and I also had a dream about you two, and both of you were there. And, it's like, and Dick Grayson's like, I think we might have known each other. I think we're supposed to be friends. And I like it. I think it's just cute as hell. It's charming as hell. It's something I really look forward to. It's something I plan on reading more of. There were a couple other books that came out this week that I was going to want to look into. Red Thorn, I completely forgot that book was coming out. I want to read that from the beginning. It looks great. And Lucifer #2 is also out, but I gotta read Lucifer number 1 because I really liked that series the first time around. I'm really not sure this was the best week for me to start this whatever this is, the show, because a lot of the comics coming out this week assume, they're very continuity heavy. They assume that you've read the things beforehand. I mean, that's the nature of sequential art, of course, but this is, there's a couple of things like Miss Marvel #3 just drops you right in there. I don't know what's going on at the moment. I know that it's the previous series was charming as all hell. I'm looking forward to reading this one. I think this might be one that I need to go to the back issues for because I want to know more about it. And it's just cute. It seems to be her in a fight against her friend. I'll get back to that one. Captain Marvel #1 also came out this week. Okay, you're not going to find a much bigger Captain Marvel fan than me. I loved her when she was Miss Marvel. I have the entire. I think it was. I'm actually not sure who did it. It was a 50-issue run that came after House of M. It was pretty good. I loved the when Kelly Sue took over it a couple years ago. And I'm liking this. I love that she's becoming the heroine she wants to be. She's becoming an A-list superheroine who's respected by her peers. In this issue, she actually, I'm not quite sure what happened. Okay, so you used to have the sword, which I can't remember the acronym for, which was a division of S.H.I.E.L.D. that protected humankind against extraterrestrial threats. That seems to be gone and have been replaced by Alpha Flight. The Canadian superheroes as on a satellite as a first strike force, and it is just it's Carol's first day as the leader of this force, and it just shows her going like insanely bored with bureaucracy, and just how much fun she has pounding the heck out of asteroids. There's a plot twist about the asteroids. I'm not going to tell you about that. Although I really am confused because they go on about how it is a 2-year service, and people who come up there are gone. They're not going back to Earth for 2 years at all, ever, for any reason. When the space station, to the best of my knowledge, or I might have missed something that is completely possible. It seems to be in orbit around the Earth, and I mean, there's enough teleportation technology on Earth that you'd think. Honestly, you would think that you would have normal shifts at this job. You would go punch in at 7 a.m. and get off at 3, and 3 to 10 or whatever. 10 and then 10 to 6, whatever. I mean, you could have different crews there around the clock, and it seems like people would go less insane that way. And having people be away from their families for 2 years when they don't have to be away for 2 years. Maybe I'm missing something. There could be a perfectly good reason for it. I don't know what that reason is. I mean, there's teleportation technology on Earth, and there's the Guardians of the Galaxy seem to be able to zip from one end of the galaxy to another end of the galaxy in reasonable amounts of time. And I mean, they make reference to this. Rocket Raccoon shows up to try and steal stuff. So I really don't know why people couldn't go home at the end of the day, or go home for weekends, or have vacations. I am nitpicking here. I don't know why this kind of bugs me, but it does. Okay, there's 4 minutes of me just complaining about something no one else is ever going to think is important. Okay, switching things up, we are going to Wonder Woman Superman, or Superman Wonder Woman, the new issue of that. Let me check what issue that was. So yeah, this is really nice. I like this. So I mean, from context, it's like Superman has apparently recently been depowered. Not that he has no powers, but that his powers are much less than they usually are. And I really like it. So it starts out with him dead for some reason. I'm assuming previous issue. Spoiler: he doesn't stay dead. Diana petitions the gods of Olympus to give him a trial of virtue in order to heal him. And it's really nice. It's Artemis has him go hunting for his true self, which is Clark Kent, and then Eros has a talk with him about his relationship with Diana, and how Superman really wants to marry her and be with her, but there's something stopping him. He meets with. Okay, I have never been able to say this Greek god's name, so it's the god of the forge. It's Aphrodite's husband. Aphrodite's husband, I believe it's Aphrodite's husband, who in the Roman mythology is Vulcan. Hephaestus. I can never be able to say that. Who gives him a chance to flee Earth to go to a planet where he'll be respected and looked at as the hero. He chooses to stay on Earth. It's really nicely done. I really like it. Again, it's just charming. It's I don't know why everyone seems to hate Superman. I'm curious about this. I know that they're coming up with the movie with the Batman vs Superman movies coming out, and I'm sure they're playing that up. They're trying to get the same rivalry. I don't know how you have a DC universe where everyone doesn't love Superman. He saves the world on an hour-by-hour basis. I know there are people who, I have friends who don't care for the Superman character. But if you're living in DC Earth, then, he saved your butt 1,000 times. And also, just after reading All-Star Superman, there's no way not to love Superman. The All-Star Superman, shows him as a hero, as the selfless hero he is, or should be at least. Is this recording? I can't actually tell if this is recording or not. I think it's recording. Like I said, I'm new to this. I'll get the hang of it eventually. I'm reasonably smart. What else came out? We're looking at my notes. Oh, Uncanny X Men. The new Uncanny X Men issue 3. Oh yeah, this was a really crappy issue to start with. Honestly, it begins with Sabretooth, who apparently Sabretooth is no longer, the bloodthirsty Victor Creed. He's nicer, friendlier Victor Creed. I don't know. I'm sure I will figure it out as time goes on. And that's one of the things is if I start looking backwards at books for context to see how things got here, I know that it's continuity. It's going to go back 50 years, for Marvel and 80 years for DC, and I'll never get anywhere with it. So the things I haven't read, I'm going to read in context, and see if I can put things together. It's been about a year and a half since I really read comics, so things can't have changed too much. I know that's a lie. So it is, it's Victor Creed and Manoy M. I believe Moroccan, socialite hero. I loved her. She was in Generation X. Just a snooty woman who thinks she's better than everybody else because she kind of is better than everybody else. And they go off to save, apparently, some kind of supervillain is targeting characters with healing powers, and Elixir is next on the list. So they go to Elixir. They're all like, "Hey, Elixir, we want to save you." And Elixir's all like, "Oh no, I want to be a human. I have responsibilities now." That's interesting. I mean, I'm assuming it will make more sense in context. I really do like X Men are my jam. When it comes to Marvel Comics, X Men was the book I used to read every month. It was X Men, New Mutants. Never got into X Factor, and then X Force came out. Excalibur is again just charming as all hell. So X Men is my jam. X Men is, if there's a Marvel book I care about, if there's a Marvel book I'm interested in reading, it is in fact, the X-related books, and there seem to be a lot of them. So I will not be getting bored. Next up, I believe that might be it. Oh, Hercules. This is another book I've really been enjoying. I read issue 1 a few months ago, and I really like it. It's Hercules, trying to hero up, for the 21st century. But I haven't really done anything for the last few years. There's people dying out there. People need a hero. I will be that hero. I just really like Hercules. Hercules has been one of my favorite characters for a while. A few years ago, Greg Pak. When I'm mispronouncing these people's names, I apologize. I will try to figure out how to say things better, more correcter, more gooder in the future. But he released a book called The Incredible Hercules after World War Hulk, and it was just great. It was Hercules going around saving people and kind of being a d-bag. He was kind of being a d-bag the entire time, but just kind of a d-bag, just a little bit of a d-bag. One of my favorite exchanges in comics is there's a scene where Hercules, for whatever reason, is dressed up is masquerading as Thor, and Thor is masquerading as Hercules. And there's this great sequence where Hercules dressed as Thor is talking to humans. He's like, well, I am Thor, god of thunder, but I got nothing on Hercules. Hercules is the best ever. He is great. I mean, Thor, am telling you, Hercules is the best of all the gods. And it takes Thor a minute to figure this out. And he's arguing. It's just really cute. But yeah, this is all about Thor, Hercules adjusting to the modern day world, which I don't know, Hercules has been a part of the modern day world for a long time, since the 70s, I want to say. But he starts using guns. He's going out there. He has business cards. You have a problem. Hercules might be able to solve it. It's an interesting premise. I like it. I am very interested to see where this is going. If I had to pick, it's one of the reasons I'm happy to get back into comic book reading. Other things that came out, as DC Comics go, if there's a book that is my jam, it was the Wally West Flash book. I'm sure that the new Barry Allen stuff is great. I've started watching the weekly live-action series, and that's really charming, mostly because Barry acts a lot like Wally. But so Wally West and the Bat Family. I'm a huge Bat Family fan. There were a lot of Batman books. Back in my heyday of Batman books, you had the Batman book that was Batman was a superhero book. Detective was a were the gritty crime stories. Legends of the Dark Knight, I don't believe were in continuity for the most part. Or they were overarching mythos that weren't necessarily taking place at the same time as the other books. And there are a lot of Batman books this week. So I got Batman 48. Is Scott Snyder has been rocking it. So the one New 52 book I've read every month, well, not every month, but for the most part, is Scott Snyder's Batman. It is great. Whenever I remember to go to a comic book store, it's the book I get. Court of the Owls, Year One, The Death of the Family. These are good. These are stories I like. I wholeheartedly recommend them. His method to telling Batman stories seems to be not everything you know about Batman is wrong. It's everything you know about Batman is right. But here's a whole bunch of other stuff you didn't know that fits in pretty well with continuity. I like it. I just like it. This issue is it's a man who, for the most, there's a framing sequence that I really didn't care about with Jim Gordon Jr. The most part, it's Bruce Wayne sitting at a park bench after having pulled a Peter Parker where he's not sure if he wants to be a hero anymore or something. I really haven't caught up. This seems to take place after the Joker, Batman, and the Joker Eternal, or whatever. There was like a death scene. There's a scene. There's a scene in a previous storyline where the Joker and Batman are presumed dead. And to the best of my knowledge, this is continuing from that. It's disheveled Bruce Wayne sitting at a park bench, and a guy who couldn't look more like the Joker if they tried. Suit, little boutonniere, big grin. I'm assuming it's supposed to be the Joker. It might have, and he's talking about how during the guy in the suit is talking about how he lost a part of himself the last time the Joker attacked, and he's saying to Bruce, "You don't have to go back to your life before." I think it's the Joker. Maybe it's the Joker, a little bit the Joker. I like it. I need if there is one thing I'm going to keep reading here, it is Scott Snyder's Batman, because he's just nifty. He writes good books. There's it uses continuity, but it's not a slave to it, which is what I like. I like continuity. Like I said, I've been reading comics for like 30 years. I like stories that build up other ones, but again, you shouldn't be. I don't think the writer should be a slave to it. If there's one thing, if there's a storyline that doesn't quite work in context, and you want to ignore that storyline, or you want to amend it, or say it didn't quite happen the way you think it happened, as long as the writers let me know that, I'm cool with it. So I know which parts of my continuity brain to turn on and off. That is really it for this week. I read a bunch of stuff. I liked all of it, really. It was all pretty good. I did read Miss Marvel. I really can't make heads or tails of it. I would not suggest that. I think that Uncanny X Men probably makes more sense as a part of a larger storyline. Silver Surfer is just charming as heck. Captain Marvel, great potential. I love the character. I love, Carol is one of the few is a character, I know she was an alcoholic before. She's one of those characters, she's got, she knows who she is, she knows what she wants, she knows what she can do. And I like that. That's cool. Not every character has to be Spider-Man. I have this rant I'll go into probably when I read Doctor Strange or Iron Man about how all characters are like quippy and witty and, funny these days. But, not every character has to be Spider-Man. Not every character has to, have, pathological self-doubt and, be questioning himself all the time. Sometimes you can have a girl who knows, I'm the best at what I do. And what I do is punch asteroids. Among many other things. So, yeah, Wonder Woman, Superman, Wonder Woman, whatever the title is, I think it's good. I am actually kind of interested in seeing that plot line. It does have one issue I do, and this isn't an issue so much as it's a pet peeve. It's a nitpick, if you will, is that, all the cosplay costumes for superheroes these days, I mean, it seems like, and I could be completely wrong, a lot of characters these days have costumes that are, meant to, to make things easier for people to cosplay. And I understand that. People like cosplaying. I don't do it myself. I work with people who are big cosplayers. I respect the time it takes and the creativity it takes and the eye for detail it can take. It's not for me, but, so what? It does seem like there's a lot of costumes these days that are meant to make things easier for cosplaying. And this is, the current Superman costume is one of those. It is a Superman S. The Superman S. How does that work? On a T-shirt and a pair of jeans, and I know that's more or less what pre-New 52 Superboy wore. I just don't know if it works for Superman, because Superman has that cool Kryptonian body armor he has, and it seems to me that if he's been weakened, that's all the more reason to wear Kryptonian battle armor, because it's battle armor that's Kryptonian. Anyways, this has been the Comic Critic, because that name doesn't seem to be taken, and I like it. I'm going to be doing a few more things this week, I think. I've been reading some books I really like that I want to make commentary on. Maybe a computer game or two. maybe a let's play. I don't know. I spend a lot of time in front of my computer anyway. I figure I might as well be doing something vaguely productive. So this is my attempt to be vaguely productive. I hope you enjoyed this. Uh, what is it every YouTuber says? Like and subscribe. Oh, and you can reach me if you're listening to this as a podcast. The YouTube URL is youtube.com/just an orc. Orc with a C. Just an orc. That's going to be. I'm going to hopefully a Twitter and a Twitch channel will be the same name, so as to make it pretty easy to remember. My name is Pete. It's been a pleasure talking at you, and I hope you have a good couple days. Peace.